boys. Go, you got this. All right, they got it.
Well, here we are approaching the Adigan Pass from the north. It's much better weather than it was yesterday. There's no rain, although it might be a little bit at the top, but no rain here. However, the wind is really blowing hard, and that's going to be a real element to deal with when we go up the grade. But we're getting a much better view of the mountains today. All the wind has blown all the clouds away, all the low clouds anyway. Got to take a lot of concentration to keep this bike on the path that I want it with the wind. I hope the picture isn't too tilted as I try to lean the bike where I want it to go. Sit back and enjoy the show. Our tour guide switched this morning. Tom, who's been a tour guide the whole trip, he's now driving Jethro, the chase truck. And Theron, who's been driving the chase truck, he's now ahead of me. He's leading us today and I think tomorrow as well. We saw about 6 or 8 caribou earlier this morning. That's the only really wildlife we've seen of the caribou. Haven't seen anything else. No muskox, no bear. But we had an eagle this morning fly into the roadway and almost hit Theron. I mean, it was so close. He hit his brakes and the bird just swerved at the last minute. But otherwise, not a lot of wildlife has been seen. Majestic mountains all everywhere. Okay, here we are approaching the Adigan grade, and there's the sign, says Adigan Pass. For some reason they put it down here at the bottom. It's beginning to mist a little bit. Up on the pegs. Doesn't look really good, this road. This grade is deceptively steep. You probably can't see it on camera, but It's a pretty steep uphill for quite some time. But the road surface looks pretty good. Doesn't look too tricky. Cool view down the valley where we came from. Top of the pass. A little windy. Low clouds. There you go. Adigan Pass conquered again. Again, just like the ascent, the descent is very steep. You can't see it, I'm sure, but it's quite a downhill. I'm in 4th gear with 0 throttle. I'm doing almost 37, 38 miles an hour on a road surface. A little damp, but not real slippery. You can see the guardrail here. A number of people have introduced themselves to it. There's a big one there. Or it could be avalanches. This is area is very prone to avalanches in the winter, coming out from the hillside on my right and wipe out the guardrail. The misting stopped. It was just a little bit on the uphill side and it subsided. There you go, Adigan Pass.
Well, hello again. We made it from Deadhorse to Coldfoot today. The day started out pretty well. It was about low 50s when we left Coldfoot under blue skies. Good weather. We made some good time. We stopped for our first break at, I don't remember the location, our first stop. But we had lunch at Galbraith. And in the morning, we ran across the most difficult terrain that we had crossed yet. They were doing construction, and there was no open path on the road to avoid the very soft, very thick, loamy, wet mud. And I was second in line. In the lead, Theron, he got all crossed up in the mud and almost fell. I was behind him. I got all crossed up and almost fell. We got over to the side and we all stopped and decided what we were going to do because it was a very difficult traverse of several hundred yards. Most of the guys that were on the left side went to the far left and made it through. I was on the far right and there was no way I was going to cross all the way across 2 lanes of traffic to get over to that left side. So I stayed on the far right shoulder very slowly, sort of idled my way through it. But that was the most, I talked about a day or two ago having some really slick surface. This was nothing like that. This was a lot worse and a lot more anxious and anxiety ridden, but nobody dropped it and nobody fell, so we went on our way. We had lunch at Galbraith Lake under partly cloudy skies, but better than yesterday when we went north. And then from there we took off and went over the Adigan Pass. It was clearer than yesterday, but not perfectly clear. A little mist on the northern slope leading up. Otherwise, other than a pretty strong wind pretty much all day. And then we got over the Adigan Pass and headed down towards Coldfoot. The pavement, the road surface became paved, and we were able to roll pretty good back into Coldfoot, and we're staying where we were staying 2 nights ago at the same place. And I'm actually in their laundry room. They have complimentary laundry service, no charge, complimentary detergent. They even have stain remover. So they really cater mostly to the truckers that are going through the area. So another good meal tonight across the street at the restaurant. We ate out on the deck again. Tomorrow looks like, knock on wood, no rain. We've had rain or been rained on every day so far on this trip, but tomorrow looks like it's going to be clear, and we're heading for Chena Hot Springs, just a little bit east of Fairbanks. So we're looking forward to that nice ride, a good part of payment. I think that what was challenging 2 days ago on the way up now is going to be a piece of cake after what we've been through and have ridden through. We're looking pretty good. Oh, I know where our first stop was at Happy Valley. That's the first place we stopped at this morning that we had to put mosquito netting on. There was no wind and no rain, and they came out in force. So I just threw the netting over my helmet, and you can just see them all collecting on netting around my face, but kept my gloves on so there's no skin exposed, and I didn't get a single bite, so that worked out really well. So that's the report for today. Tomorrow should be at Chena Hot Springs for our next night. Oh, I did have one thing today. My bike overheated, and I guess when it overheats, it just turns itself off. It wouldn't restart. After a couple of minutes, I guess it cooled down enough that it fired up again. I did notice that climbing Adigan Pass, the temperature climbed pretty high again, but it never shut off again. A little warning light came on, but that was it. The bikes are very, very covered in thick mud. I'm sure it's active as an insulator. Hopefully we'll knock some of that off tomorrow. All right, that's it from Coldfoot, Alaska. We'll talk to you later. Bye.